customer management. And in this specific webinar, we'll be discussing everything from individual profiles, customer list settings, moving customers between inactive and active, the new recycle bin feature, and much more. So we're really excited to have you with us today for this demonstration. If you're having any issues viewing the screen, what you can do is click on the screen settings, which you'll find under the magnify glass. You'll want to select these two options, 100% in full screen. By selecting these options, you will have better visibility. You should be able to see the screen without it being blurry or fuzzy. If you're still having issues after choosing those options, please call the number that's listed here to receive further customer support. I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to Kelly. She's going to begin our demonstration in Boulevard.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. And today, the areas of customer management that we're going to cover are a lot of the toolbar buttons, profile layout, and just some not only general cleanup of your contacts, but also how to utilize the different ways to view information in Boulevard. So I'm going to start off with going through some of the toolbar buttons and different functionality. Now, some of the things that I just briefly cover, there's areas that you can get more information from by going to our support center and viewing past webinars that we have conducted, as well as support articles. And of course, you can always chat in with us or send us a message, and we're more than happy to go into further detail. So I'm going to first start out with the customer list, and I'm opening it from the shortcuts that I've set up, but you can also choose from the main toolbar. And one of the new features of Boulevard 2017 is there's now a toolbar located directly on the customer list itself. And the reason for that is to give you more options to be able to do different functionality right where you're at on the customer list. So for example, if you have customers that you would like to mark inactive, and to be able to do that with multiple customers at once, with the filter sidebar, now that you have that, you can choose from the drop down, and if I say no, then this listing now is just my active customers. So I can then choose to mark any one of these customers as inactive. So if I go ahead and specify a couple of different customers, then what I can do is choose the move to and mark them inactive. Now this is automatically moving them to my inactive status list. And if I want to view all of my inactive customers, I can go back to this inactive customers dropdown and choose yes, and I will see everyone that's listed in my inactive list. So if I want to mark them as active again, I can choose to do that as well, and then just go back to the move to and make them active. So it's a quick way to clean up your customer list and choose to mark people active or inactive. Now that goes along with the next area, which is the recycle bin. We've added a recycle bin feature to Boulevard 2017 to give you kind of a safety net. So if you want to delete anyone from the customer list, unit list, or address list, what it's going to do is it's going to move them into this recycle bin and allow you to then restore them later, or you can permanently delete them. So I'm going to go ahead and select a couple of customers here, and then all I have to do is choose delete, and Boulevard's going to ask me to confirm that I want to delete the 3 contacts. When I choose yes, they're now moved into the recycle bin. Then what I can do is, when I'm ready to go through my recycle bin, I'll see them listed here, and I can select them and then either delete them permanently or I can restore them. I'm going to go ahead and choose to restore, and it will move them right back to the list that they were deleted from. And because they were marked inactive when I delete them, they will still be marked as inactive. If I choose to make them active again, I can select them here from the list and then select to make them active. So just a couple of ways to do some general cleanup of your contacts. Now, the next area on the toolbar that I'd like to go over is views. Now, we've talked about views in previous webinars about how to load a view, but now I'd like to go over creating a view. And when you create a view, what it allows you to do is display information in the format that you'd like and to be able to do further refinement and filtering. So you'll notice that I've already created a view here because by default I have 3 views on the customer list: cards, birthdays, and default. Now when I'm ready to create a view, I would select the Customize button and then choose Create View. You'd go ahead and give it a name, and I'm just going to call it my newest view. You can name it anything that you'd like, and then you want to choose which previous view it's going to be based off of, so what template. And I'm just going to go ahead and choose the default view. And you'll notice that now from my view drop down I have this new view that I created. Now on the list itself it doesn't look any different than the default view because of the fact that right now it's based on the default. This is where you'd want to customize it. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that Customize button again, and then this time choose Column Chooser. And you'll notice in the lower right hand corner I have a customization form. Any one of these fields can be added to the customer list. So I'm going to go ahead and choose last invoice date and let's say user 1. I'm going to go ahead and close it, and I can drag it and drop it anywhere I want on the list itself. Any other columns that I don't want to see, for example, if I want to remove the work column, I can right-click on the column header and choose Hide this column. So this allows me to have and view the information that I want to see. Now, to take it a step further, I can use the filters on the left-hand side here. For example, if I wanted to quickly see everyone that has an account balance, I can choose to do that. Or since I added, for example, the user 1 column, if I want to filter on this column itself, you'll notice that when I hover over the user 1 column, the little filter button appears. I can click on that and it's going to bring up a drop-down list with all the different options that are already in that field. So maybe I want to filter it based on long distance. Okay, so this is a way to filter. Now to use this information, I can then select individual customers, or if I want to select them all, I can click on the column header and it highlights everybody. And this is what I can do with these selected contacts. I can send a group email if I have my email set up in Boulevard. And with Boulevard 2017, you can actually connect your online email address. So if you have a Gmail or Yahoo or any email address, you can actually connect it inside Boulevard and send a group email. Or I can create a report and print. So if I choose that I want to just print this list, then it looks just like a traditional report, and it has my title that I created this newest view, and I can print this. Or I can even create mailing labels from this as well. And then lastly, I can create a list builder list from this. So I can create a new list, or if I have a list already created that I want to add to an existing list, I can choose to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new list. And I'm going to say that this is my back to school open house list, just as an example. Now, once I OK that, I can go ahead and close my customer list. And if I open the list builder, which I can choose from the main toolbar or from the shortcuts that I have set up, you'll notice that I have it listed here. So what I can do with this is I can edit this list. If I want to add more contacts to it, I would click the edit button. And this allows me to add contacts maybe from the unit list or contacts from the address list, so I can make additions to this list. Then what I can do is I can print this list to use this as maybe a registration checklist of when the contacts show up for attend the open house, or I can send a group email from here, or if I am calling, I can make call notes directly from this list builder. So now I'm going to go back to the customer list, and some of the other buttons that are available is the invoice. So if I have a customer selected with Boulevard 2017, not only can I create an invoice from the main toolbar shortcuts, but I can also create a new invoice from the customer list toolbar. And then here's that new call note button again. And you'll notice that if I just have one customer selected, I can create a call note specifically for this customer, enter the information that I want to be put in the memo. I can choose to change their next contact date, as well as adding a line to my weekly accomplishment so that I can keep track of the time that I've spent with this customer contacting them. Now, if I choose to select multiple customers and then click the new call, Boulevard knows to create a call note, the identical call note for each of these customers, and I can fill it out the same way, and there'll be a call note under each of these customer profiles. Now, the next option is the payment button. So if I have a customer that sends payment, I can either open their profile, or if I have their name selected, I can click the payment button directly from the customer list. And in a previous webinar, we also went over selecting multiple customers. If you want to clear multiple account balances at once, you can go ahead and do that and click the payment button, and Boulevard will clear the account balance for those customers as well. So now we're going to go ahead and actually go through the customer profile and some of the new buttons and the layout and all of that. Now you'll notice that If there is something important that is with this customer, you will see a notification that pops up if it is their birthday, anniversary, or if they have an upcoming auto delivery, if you have set up auto deliveries. And that will continue to appear throughout the month, or for your auto deliveries, you can set up a specified time period of when you want those notifications to appear. And the top portion of the customer profile is static. And the reason why we did that is so that when you're in a customer profile, as you're clicking through the different tabs of the profile, it still allows you to view the important information, their name, their preferred method of contact, the best time to reach them. If they have an account balance, you'll see that right away, and the last time that you contacted them. Now we also have the rewards balance here. This will only display if you are choosing to track reward points in Boulevard. And to set that up, you would just go under the Edit menu to Settings and Rewards. And this is where you'll find how to set up the rewards program. So the main tab, you'll notice on the main tab that each section has a add button. And what that allows you to do is, if there are certain fields that are not displayed that you want to add, as far as additional fields, you can choose to add them. So for example, if Lucy Bonderson works for a dentist office and I want to make sure that I make note of the dentist office, I can go ahead and add this field, and it allows me to add the company there. Now, by doing that, remember when we created a view on the customer list, I could then filter based on company. So anywhere you see the add button on the different sections, that means that there's different functionality that you can add to the areas. Now, you'll also notice on some of the fields there is an edit button or an ellipsis button. Now, if I click on that button, it allows me to globally update that information. So, for example, if I had spelled a city incorrectly, I could go in and change it, and what it's going to do is it's going to ask me, do I want to update all the profiles in Boulevard by clicking yes. And when I do that, anyone with that city, it would update on their profile. So that allows me to globally make corrections, and it will correct it for everyone's profile. Now, the Notes tab, there are a couple of different alerts that notifications that we offer with the Notes tab. Now, there's an alert, and that's an unobtrusive notification that allows you to have additional information but still allows you to work with the profile and maneuver through the different tabs. And what you would do is you would type the information under the reminder. So we'll say that she prefers to use the Visa card on file. Now, if I save that profile, then the next time I open up Lucy's profile, I'm going to get a notification. And I have my notifications set in the lower right-hand corner of Boulevard. It's right down in the corner. You can choose to have it display in the middle or in the top. There's several different locations that you can have the notifications appear. But you'll notice that when I have this appear, I can still click and work in this profile, and the alert is still to the side. Now, if I choose that this needs to be a critical note, for example, maybe this is someone that you're having a hard time collecting the balance on an invoice, or they have an allergy to an ingredient, and you want to make sure that you're aware of that and remember that. What you would do is you would type the information that you want to appear in the notification, and then select the critical create pop-up. And when I save that, the next time I go into the profile, or every time I go into the profile, I'm going to get not only an audio notification, but I'm also going to get this message box that will not go away until I acknowledge that I've read it. And you'll also notice that I can't click anywhere else in the program until I've acknowledged it. So that's a critical pop-up. Now, to remove it, all I have to do is uncheck critical and remove the reminder. So that's the differences between the two different types of notifications that you can set for the profile. Now, the next tab that I'd like to go over is Account and Invoices. And again, you'll see that we have Add buttons. So this allows you to create a new invoice from here. But you can also create a new invoice from their toolbar along with the other options of creating an invoice. So there's several different ways to begin an invoice depending on where you're at and which method works best for you. You'll also notice that with 2017, the invoice list now has expander buttons. This allows you to quickly view the items that are contained on that invoice. You can go ahead and select it, and it will expand, and you can contract it by clicking the button again. You can also double click on this if you'd like to edit the invoice, or if you want to reprint the invoice, you can right click on it and choose to print it like that. And then down below you can see their account information as well as adding payments here, or you can add a payment from their toolbar as well. So there's several different ways to initiate a customer payment. Now, the next tab is the Products tab. The Products tab, I love the redesign of the Products tab, and just for the fact of adding these little checkboxes here. This allows you to select items if they are reordering them. So we'll just choose a couple items. You can select them, then click the New button and choose to add it to a new invoice. And what it's going to do is create a new invoice and add them for you here. You can add additional items. You can add discounts. It's just like a regular invoice, but it's adding those items for you quickly. Now, alternatively, if they need to return items, it's the same idea. I would select them from the list here, and then I can choose the Return button. And by doing that, it generates a new invoice and automatically marks it as Return to MK. I can add new items if they're exchanging it for something else or purchasing other items, and add the discounts and anything else that I need to do with this invoice. Now, the next tab is the checklist tab. Now, if you don't have your checklist set up, you can create checklist items for all of your unit, address, or customer list. And you'd find that under the Edit menu, choose Settings, and then Checklist. And this allows you to build your custom checklist. New to 2017, you can select the items when they have completed them, and you'll notice now it fills in a date so you know when the item was completed. And if you choose to set up a rewards program, you can also specify the reward points that each item is valued for if it is applicable. And that brings me into the contact log. So the contact log not only has the call notes that you manually have created, and you can add them by clicking here, or again, that little call note button here. But also what it does is you'll see a settings button, and you can choose to show system entries. So Boulevard's keeping track of every time you do something with this customer's account. So I just checked her host a skincare class, and it made an entry in the contact log and let me know that this is when it was added. So there's a running account of what's happened with her profile. And you'll notice here, anytime that that I make post a payment on her account or create an invoice, Boulevard's keeping track of all of that for you. Now, if I choose that I don't want to see those all the time, I can choose to uncheck that, and it only shows the manually created notes. Now, the Action Items tab. So you can create single action items using the Add button here, or you can choose to do an action item from their toolbar button. But you'll notice with the toolbar button, there's also an arrow next to it. So if I click on the arrow, I can create new multiple action items. Now, we've had for many years the ability to create 2 + 2 + 2 action items, 2-day, 2-week, 2-month follow-ups. But with Boulevard 2017, customization is at the forefront importance. And we wanted to be able to give you the ability to set different intervals on multiple follow-ups. So maybe I want to do a next day contact. I can choose to add that. Then if I want to do a 1-week contact, I can do that. And then I can choose 2 months. So this allows me to create multiple follow-ups all at once, have different intervals, and customize them. So then when I OK it, it's going to add them into my calendar when to follow up with this customer during those specific times. Now, the next tab is the Connections tab. And the Connections tab is, the idea behind it is to connect people and track who they are associated with. So maybe you have a consultant that is trying to recruit someone, and you want to keep track of that. Or maybe you've had a customer that is has hosted a skincare class, and a couple of the party guests did not place an order immediately, but you want to be able to keep track of them so you can contact them at a later point. What you would do is you would add these contacts to the address list because they're not customers yet, so you'd add them to the address list. And you'll notice that Eva Brown here, I've added her to the address list, and to connect her to Lucy's profile, I would go to the Additional Info tab, and I would link her to Lucy. Now I can link her to anyone on the unit list or on the customer list, and I can choose what type of a contact this person is. So how is Eva connected to Lucy Bonderson? And again, you'll notice that you see these little edit buttons, the ellipsis button. I can go in and create all different types of contact types. Just another way to be able to group different people and have the ability to filter so that I know how people are connected, and just to be able to utilize the information that's already in my Boulevard and harness it for the ability to create reports, send out emails, create mailing labels, all of that. So let's go ahead and close that contact profile. And we're going to close the address list. So the next tab on the profile is the rewards and wish list. Now if your Boulevard says just wish list here, that just means that you haven't set up the rewards program. And when you're ready to implement a rewards program in your Boulevard, you can find that again under the settings and rewards. And once you do that, then this tab will change to rewards and wish list, and you'll have it split into two. So you'll see an accounting of the different times that they have earned rewards and used rewards. And then on the right-hand side is the wish list. So this allows you to add items that this customer hasn't purchased before, but has maybe tried at an open house or a class and is interested in. So if you are going to be creating a gift basket for them, maybe it's their birthday, and their spouse has contacted you and wanted you to create a little gift basket for them, this gives you a readily available list of things that they have been interested in. So these are all the different tabs on the profile. Now I want to briefly go over the other buttons on the profile that I haven't talked about. One is the move to. So when you have the profile opened, you can choose to move this customer to the unit list once you've recruited her. And a thing to note about that is when you do that, they also retain all of their product purchase history from the past. None of that gets lost. It moves with them. Or if you need to move them to the address list, you can choose to do that as well. And then the next button is the print button, and I want to take a minute to go over the print button because there are several different things that you can print from this button. You can choose to print their profile, their product purchase history from here, their call history. You can print their checklist, so if you want to see the items that they have completed and the ones that they haven't, you can choose to print that. You also have the ability to print their statement of account as well as their account balance transactions. So a lot of different predefined things that can be printed directly from their profile. Now you notice I have a picture set up for Lucy. If you don't typically track and store images for your customers, you can choose to hide that, and what it'll do is just expand it, the information that's already listed here. Now if you do save images, you can then either click on the image itself or choose to change the photo from the drop down here as well. And then you have the skincare profile, the different sales charts for this specific customer. You can get directions to their house. And new with 2017, in your preferences, you can decide what map service you use. So whether it's MapQuest, Google, or Yahoo, any of those, you can choose to specify who services and gives you the directions to their house. And you can do stamps.com if you have stamps.com set up. Again, we talked about the payment. If you want to be able to process credit card charges through Boulevard using your ProPay account, you can choose to do that, and this is where you would actually store their credit card information. And when you do that, the nice thing about that is you'll only see their full card information when they give it to you initially. Once you've added it, it goes out to Protect Pay, and you don't have access to the full card information. So that's nice peace of mind for the customer to know that if something were to ever happen to your computer system, that their information, as far as their credit card payment information, is safe. And the last button is the settings button. Now there are a lot of different settings that can be set here. We actually went over that in a previous webinar, so I'm not going to go into it a whole lot, but there's just a lot of different sales settings and invoice settings that you can choose from under the profile settings. So definitely you'll want to check that out. Now the last area that I'd like to go over in this webinar is the product usage. Now the product usage is amazing in Boulevard. I just think it's absolutely amazing. You have a couple of different ways to view your product usage. So if I want to specifically see the product usage for one product in particular, for example, maybe the lip primer, I would type lip primer, and you'll notice if you don't have this box set up here on your product list, you can click on the Find button and it will this will appear. And type in lip primer. You'll notice that you have 2 lip primers in your product list. Now the first one is the one that was just launched yesterday, and the next is the previously discontinued lip primer. So what I would do is I would go ahead and open the profile, and then I can click on the usage tab, and you'll notice that by default it's just going to show the past 12 months. So if I want to view an extended period of time, I would choose from the period drop down the very last option, the date range option, and that allows me to enter a wider date range. So then I can see who all has purchased this previous lip primer so that I can contact them about letting them know that Mary Kay has recently launched the lip primer again. So I would go ahead and print that. And when I choose to print it, it will print like this. So as you can see, going back to, I'm going to close this real quick, going back to the customer list and how we've already started utilizing the customer list for different functions, if I take this list and I can then check off the different customers that have purchased, and I'm just choosing a couple for now. I can create a email message directly from the customer list. I could create a list builder list from this that report that I created, and I can create call notes. So if I want to call each and every one and then create a call note for them, it allows me to be able to do all of that, and I've gotten the information from the product usage and been able to utilize it with my customer list. Now, the last product usage report is a way to be able to see a group of customers. So I'm going to go ahead and open my product list again. I'm going to choose to access it from the shortcuts. And what I'm going to do is choose a view, because you can load and create views not only in the customer list, unit list, address list, like I showed in the customer list earlier, but you can create views in the product list. And these are the default views that are loaded by, again, default. And I'm going to choose usage by customer so that I can see a group of customers. So for example, I'm going to use the section 1 last chance. So I want to see all of the items in the section 1 last chance and who has used them. So I'm going to set my date range, and I'm just going to choose all dates. Then I'm going to change the category to section 1 last chance. And again, I'm just using the example of section 1 last chance. Maybe, for example, I want to see everyone that has purchased all my foundations or all my lip colors. So you can do different groupings, but I'm going to choose section 1 last chance. And so these are everyone that has purchased the items. And what I can do also is, you'll notice again, I have a filter button here. So if I want to pick and choose different items, so for example, I had already removed the Sun Care After Sun Replenishing Gel. If I didn't want to include that on my report, I don't have to. But if I want to go ahead and add those as well, I would select them and click OK. And you'll notice that it added everyone that has purchased these different items. Now I can go ahead and choose to print that and use this report again to go to my customer list and contact my customers in the method that I choose to let them know that these items are going to be discontinued soon. And this allows me to do that.
We hope everyone enjoyed that webinar. We have time for some questions and answers now. So what you're going to do is you're going to dial *6, and we will begin that session. The two things that we ask is that you're in a quiet area so we can ensure we can hear your question, and that you just keep the questions pertaining to this specific webinar. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Dial *6 and we will answer your questions now.
Hi.
Hi, I have a quick question regarding retention of credit card.
Okay.
Can you just show when a credit card needs to be amended because of a new expiry date, if they've chosen, like, sometimes they get a new credit card and it's a new number, so how do you go about changing it?
Okay, so you would need to get the new card number, the full new card number. You won't be able to just change the expiration. What you would do is you would click Add and enter the card information here. And then also you can put in their legal name here. So maybe if you have Izzy under their name but their full legal name here, you would do that. And if you need to delete any cards, you'd select it from the list here and then choose Delete.
Okay, so just to be sure, you cannot edit
a
pre-entered card. You have to add the new info and then delete the old one.
That's correct. And that is for security purposes, so that you don't ever have access to their full card information once it's been sent out to Protect Pay.
Okay, because the last thing that you would see, the only thing that you would see would be the 4 last digits, correct?
You got it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, I've got a quick question about inactive versus address. If someone hasn't communicated with you for a period of time, but you want to keep them, would you suggest going into inactive or keeping them in the address?
You know what? It's personal preference. It really is. With the way that Boulevard 2017 is with handling inactive customers, if you have them on the customer list, you could leave them there and just mark them inactive. Now, what I have done, you'll notice, let me go ahead and mark a couple of customers inactive. What I have done is made them all black. With previous versions, by default, the inactive customers are light gray, and it's really hard to see. You can actually change your color settings under alerts and colors and choose to make them whatever color you want. So really, it's personal preference whether you want to mark them inactive or put them on the address list.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hi there.
This is Nikki. I am finding that in your version, I see a little double arrow by the filter, so I'm assuming that I can close that filter down.
Yes.
And then just be working in the customer list. But I don't see that in my program. I have a pretty little
is yours pink?
Yeah, it's pink.
Okay.
Does it close the filter so that, because what's happening is if I'm working with the customer and I close her and I go back to type another customer's name, it's changing the filter instead of working on the customer list.
Gotcha. So you can actually change your skin theme. I have the skin theme set up as Office 2007 blue, and you'll notice that anytime you go to our support center that all of the images are in this Office 2007 blue, but there are over 30 different skin themes that you can choose from. So you can change that skin theme. Now, one thing to note as far as searching for customers, this isn't something that I went over, but it's good that you brought it up. If I click on the Find button, I can choose to type a couple of letters, and it's going to drill down to those customers that are applicable. But if I choose, for example, a different view, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this. You'll notice at the bottom there's a status here that I had filtered earlier. I'm going to remove that. If I start to type on a different view that I've added different columns, you'll notice that on this one it still goes back to the 2, but it will also start to drill down on the different applicable letters that you've typed. So that's just another way to search for customers directly on the list itself. You can use the filter box at the top or on the customer list.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is I don't have the arrows that close my filter, but whatever's my cute little pink thing, which isn't arrows, so I didn't know it was closing, is going to close the filter so that I can just type my last name like I'm used to, and it'll go right down instead of changing the filter, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I just have to close that. Okay, didn't realize that was the close button. It was a cute little icon.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hi there. Well, I think there's technical difficulty with her audio.
Will this be repeated, and can I get on? I missed half of it.
Absolutely. We will be having a recording of this session. Now, it's not going to record the question and answer portion, but it will record the rest of it, the area that I actually went through everything. And we'll post that to our support center by tomorrow. And we're planning on sending out an email to everyone as well.
As to how to get into it once
Yes.
you post it?
Yep,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hi there. I have a question about the product list.
Okay.
When you bring that up, it automatically has all the different things expanded, and I always go in and that button right there.
Mm-hmm.
I always do that. Is there a way to make it that way by default?
Where when you open it that it shows collapsed? Not at this time. Not at this time. It
okay.
automatically expands it each time.
Okay.
The other thing to note with that too is there are a couple of new sort options. You can choose to sort by description or by MK sequence, so you have that as well.
Okay. I just wanted to know because I have to do that each time, and I thought there might be a shortcut way of having that be the default view.
There's not, but that is a good suggestion because I'm like you. When I go in, I kind of want to see, okay, what are all the categories, and then I just expand the one that I want to work with at that time. So I would send that in as a suggestion.
Okay, I sure will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, I have a quick question. At the beginning of the call, there was a mention of auto delivery, and I did not hear, was that something that was covered on another webinar, or I guess I don't know anything about auto delivery.
We haven't covered that in a webinar yet, but there are a couple of different articles out in our support center that explain how to set up the auto delivery for your customers.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have two questions.
Okay.
Number one, can we create a default profile that has all the possible fields we'd want, like company, like Second Street event, like all three phone numbers, home, cell, business? Because when we have people work on this, if the field's there, they'll try to find the information on the profile versus having to go and add it every single time. That's something else I have to instruct someone helping in the office to do.
So the default, no, it has the set fields. If you want to add the additional fields, you would want to click the add button and choose the additional fields that you want to add to it. That is something.
I really wish it would have all the fields there. You would have 2 phone numbers at least for people, or 2 email addresses, sometimes work and home, and that
well,
kind
and
of
you
thing.
can absolutely add those. What we did is we tried to kind of streamline and make the profile less cluttered and busy for those fields that aren't necessarily used. So it allows you to add the ones that you want and not display the ones that you don't want. But I would send in a suggestion as far as being able to set your own default fields.
Okay. Second part of that is in the program earlier, you were talking about the pop-ups could be in the center of the screen, or you have yours in the lower right.
Yep.
Where's that setting at? I didn't see that where you would set that.
Thanks for asking about that.
I would put it in the middle.
Yeah, so you would go into the edit menu, choose settings, and then alerts and colors. And this allows you to not only set the where it's displayed, but it also lets you decide how long it's displayed for. So that's here.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have time just for a couple more questions.
Hi. I have a quick question.
Okay.
What happens to, I don't
I don't believe that I've received this whole program yet. I haven't been in my Boulevard for 2 days. Has that just appeared? I just assumed that was yet to come. And what happens to all my past notes and information?
Okay, good questions. So the things that we can automatically update for you are product updates. So as new part number changes and order forms are released, those things we can automatically update if you're on the product update service. But as far as the program itself, at this time, that's not something that we can automatically update for you. That's why we post on our Facebook page when we release a new version that is available for download. And you can always be able to tell whether you have the most current file version. If you open your program, in the upper left-hand corner, it'll tell you not only the base version, which this is Boulevard 2017, but also the file version number. And this number is really important. So anytime that you email or chat with support, that's one of the first things that we always ask, because typically if there's something going on with your program, you want to update the program itself because it's probably been fixed. Or if you're running a different version, that lets us know, okay, you're on a different version, so yours looks a little different than what most people have. So those are the things that you would definitely want to check to see if you have the current version.
Oh, okay. You said it was located on the Facebook page. Is that
Yes.
something that customers automatically get? Because I've never had a Facebook note or friend me or anything like that. Is that something that I just have to go into? I just should have known that.
Anytime you've contacted us, if it was in the last few months, we always put at the bottom of our messages to like us on Facebook. And if you go to our support center, which you can do that from within Boulevard by hitting your F1 key, takes you right out to our support center. There's a link that gives you more information on being able to like us on Facebook. And definitely I would suggest doing that.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes, this is Kathy, and I have a question. Today I printed an invoice, and it did not add the tax to it, and I could not figure out what was wrong with it.
There can be several different reasons why tax might not be being added to an invoice. What I would suggest is contact our support department so that they can look specifically at the different items on your invoice and how you have your tax rate set and any of the different discounts and things like that.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is going to be the last question.
Hi, this is Anne.
Hi, Anne.
Hi. I don't know if you covered this in the very, very beginning because I missed the very beginning, but within Boulevard, I know if you create an invoice, you should be able to email it to that customer.
Yes.
But I keep getting a message that it says there's no program set up to do that. And I think you said something about it at the beginning.
Yep. So what you'd want to do is in Boulevard, under the Edit menu, you'd go into your Preferences, and under Preferences, you'll have an Online Sync tab, and this is where you're going to set that. So you have a couple of different options. If you use something like Outlook, which is a desktop software program, you can specify to use that. And you'd still want to enter your email address and your mail settings and what have you in Outlook. Or with Boulevard 2017, you can choose email, and what that means is it's going to be sent from inside Boulevard using your online email address. So, for example, if I chose email and went under the settings, button, this allows me to enter my email address and the password for my email. And then I would want to set any of the other SMTP host and information. We have a support article out on our website that will give you more information on your specific email provider and what to use there.
And what to put in there, you mean?
Mm-hmm. And then you can also set up your signature as well. And by doing that, I'll just show you here real quick. I'm going to click to send an email. And by doing that, what's going to happen is it's going to create an email message. Let me make this a little bit smaller. And you'll notice I have my signature set here. I can go ahead and
did you set the signature up prior?
Yes, I did. Now, you don't have to. If you want to type out your signature each time, you can do that. But I set it up when I went into my preferences and put all my email settings. I put it in there as well. And this right here is just an image, the entire thing. You can type out your signature, customize it.
I do have a signature on my regular emails, but this is good because it'll be on the email that comes directly from Boulevard.
Exactly. And the other nice thing, too, is not only for everyone globally, but individual customers, you can choose, if they decide, you know what, I always want you to email my invoice, you can set it on their profile to email their invoice. And when you finalize their invoice, it will pop up a message just like this, and it's going to attach that invoice to the email.
Oh, that's great.
It's awesome.
So you do that in the profile?
Uh-huh.
Okay, but then when you're doing the invoice and you click off email, it reverts to what we were just talking about.
Once you set it up with your under preferences, however you want to have the email populate, whether it's through Boulevard like I just showed, or through like Outlook, it will pop up that. Now, if you choose Outlook, one thing to note is it will pop up an email message, but it will not automatically attach the PDF. It will put a message in the body of the email saying to go to your desktop and attach that message. And it's kind of a quirk with Outlook that doesn't allow you to or allow Boulevard to automatically attach it if you're using the desktop client option.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone, for those great questions. I know that a lot more questions were coming in, and we didn't have time to get to everybody's question today. So if your question wasn't answered, or you're thinking about the webinar later and think of another question to ask, please send us an email. You can also go to Facebook and post on our Facebook page, or send us a tweet using the hashtag customer management. This will allow you to receive top priority on your email. We want to make sure that we get your questions answered right away. Again, I saw that there were some questions being typed in there asking about future webinars. If you have any or past webinars as well, so if you have those types of questions, please send us an email. We'll send you the link to the past webinars that we've hosted and the recordings. This webinar has also been recorded, so you'll be able to view that tomorrow, and we'll get that posted on our website. So if you do have questions, please send us an email. We have an upcoming webinar. We're going to be talking about getting a fresh start in Boulevard. So we're going to cover everything from entering past information, customers, inventory, all of that. So like us on Facebook if you haven't already, and we'll be posting details on dates and times for future webinars. And again, anytime you guys have an email about a future or past webinar, please send us an email. We're more than happy to respond. And we're so excited and so thankful to have you join us today. We hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Have a great night. Thanks.